How's it going, everyone? I'm Adam Molina. So the Flip series from JBL is probably one of the more popular brands of Bluetooth speakers out there, and for a couple good reasons. For one, they're usually not that expensive. In fact, I think all of them have been less than $100, which is pretty good. Two, they usually don't sound half bad. And three, with the JBL Flip 4, see what I did there with the numbers? It's now completely waterproof. So how much better can they keep making these speakers without raising the price? Let's find out. In the box, you'll get the speaker, a bright orange charging cable, and the instruction and warranty information. So at first glance, there isn't really much about the JBL Flip 4 that sets it apart from the JBL Flip 3. And that's because besides a few minor design changes, like the phone icon being turned into a triangle for pause or play, which is much more fitting in my opinion, there really isn't much different between them. The Flip 4 is still cylindrical in shape, with exposed passive bass radiators on either end. That said, there's only one key difference that makes this a worthy upgrade to the previous model: waterproofing. The fabric that wraps around the speaker might look fairly similar to the previous model, but it's actually completely waterproof now. It's actually IPX7 waterproof now to be exact, which means that it can be submerged in up to a meter of water for 30 minutes. That also means that it's protected against dirt, dust, and sand, so taking this to the beach was no problem at all. I actually just took out like a small rock that was stuck in here for I don't even know how long. When I was at the beach, I was able to toss it around in the sand and in the water and then just wipe it off, throw it in my bag, and keep on moving. It's probably not a huge deal for you if you have a Flip 3 and have never dropped it into water, or even had it near water for that matter, but it's good knowing that whether you drop it in a pool or in the ocean, you won't have to replace the speaker. On that note, the Flip 4 doesn't float, like the UE Wonder Boom that we recently reviewed. So if you drop it in a pool, that bad boy's gonna sink to the bottom. And if you're in the ocean, kiss that goodbye. But besides that, the rest of the speaker hasn't really changed much. You'll still get the 4 playback control buttons along the side of the speaker, and the power button and JBL Connect Plus button along the spine. That's also where you'll get the 5 indicator lights that show you how much battery life is left, along with the small flap to keep water out of the micro USB charging input and the 3.5mm input hidden underneath. The string is also still there, so you can hang it from a hook or tie it to your bag if you want, which I did to my sister to get this shot. Though I do prefer the elastic cord that you'll find on something like the UE Roll, the string here is fine and it gets the job done. So let's just circle back to the Connect Plus button, because that's probably one of my biggest complaints about this speaker. If you remember, the JBL Flip 3 also had a JBL Connect button, but this one is Connect Plus, and that extra plus makes all the difference. The old one was able to connect one JBL speaker to another. This one can connect one JBL speaker to up to 100 other speakers, which is pretty great until you realize that if you have a Connect Plus speaker like this one, you can't connect to any previous speaker that doesn't have Connect Plus. So if you already have a Flip 3, you're kind of out of luck. This is a real bummer because the Flip series isn't so expensive that it's impossible to imagine someone buying one every time a new one comes out. And now they can't even connect them together. Supposedly, this is going to be fixed in an update, but I don't think it should have been overlooked in the first place. Okay, so that's it, rant over. So besides that, I really had no issues with the speaker regarding connection. The signal stayed strong pretty much anywhere in my house, which practically speaking means about 40 or 50 feet with walls in the way. And the playback control buttons all work perfectly and you get plenty of control out of them. You can control volume with the plus and minus sign buttons, pause or play music, or access your phone's personal assistant with the play button, skip to the next song by double tapping the triangular play button again, and easily enter Bluetooth pairing mode with a dedicated Bluetooth pairing button. All of this works perfectly and I had no complaints, though I do wish I was able to return to a previous track by triple clicking. That's always helpful to me since I like to listen to the same songs over and over again during testing. So JBL claims a battery life of 12 hours, but in our initial testing we got exactly 4 hours. Pretty big difference, but there's a reason for this. If you're using a waterproof Bluetooth speaker, chances are you're outside, and that speaker is going to be on max volume. So that's how I test it. I test the speakers on max volume. However, when I lower the volume to between 50 to 75%, it reaches 12 hours pretty easily, so that's something to keep in mind if you think you're going to be going out somewhere like the beach. For a few hours, you won't have a problem, but if you're planning a day trip or even a day at your friend's pool, you might want to avoid a high output or this speaker isn't going to make it through the day. Now, if you're looking for the Flip 4 to be a huge improvement in terms of sound quality over the Flip 3, I'm sorry to disappoint because it's not. They sound very similar. And that's not a knock against the Flip 4 because I actually really enjoyed the sound of the Flip 3. There's only a few subtle differences that I could find, one of them being in the highs. On the Flip 3, I found a slight distortion when the speaker was maxed out, but that doesn't seem to be an issue on this new model. The finger slides that used to sound a little harsh in the song Cinder and Smoke by Iron and Wine, is now much more controlled. You can still enjoy it without bothering your ears, which is definitely a plus. Not much has changed in the mid-range, with vocals still coming through loud and clear just like they did before. Background instruments do get pushed off to the side a bit, but not enough to be an issue. The guitar and percussion in Life is Wonderful by Jason Mraz backs up the vocals perfectly throughout the track. Another minor change is in the low end, with a slightly beefier bass when compared to the previous model. It's still not going to replicate the sub bass of your favorite songs, but it doesn't do a bad job at replicating it at a slightly higher frequency, it seems. The rolling bass of Mr. Rager by Kid Cudi is consistent throughout the background of the song without muddying up any of the mids. So is the $99 JBL Flip 4 worth it? Yes, of course it is. It's a flip. But if you already have a JBL Flip 3, you're going to have to decide if being able to completely submerge your speaker is worth another $100 to you. And if it isn't, that's fine because your speaker's already splash proof, but then you probably don't need this. On the other hand, if you're searching for your first Bluetooth speaker and you don't want to spend a lot of money, there's never been a better time to be in the market. You can choose between something like the UE Wonderboom, which is a great little speaker that also floats, but now you also have the option to get the JBL Flip 4, which is a slightly louder, slightly bigger, but also better battery life having speaker. Now there are some things I don't like about the speaker, like that Connect Plus button obviously, but hopefully that'll be fixed. But even with that problem, this is still easy to recommend to anyone looking for a waterproof speaker. JBL just keeps marching forward with better and better products, and the JBL Flip 4 is the next step. We're giving it an 8.5 out of 10. And that's pretty much it for our review of the JBL Flip 4. Thanks for watching. If you want to know more about this speaker or any of the other products we review, make sure to check out SoundGuys.com. But while you're here, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, so you can see cool stuff like me balancing the JBL Flip 4 in my head. Also, subscribe to our newsletter so you can stay up to date with all the newest reviews and audio news here at SoundGuys. Links to all of that down in the description. I'm Adam Molina. See you later.